Hello, everybody. So today I want to cover the Q3 2023 earnings conference call for Enphase, which took place yesterday after earnings. And that call was a long call and there was a lot of information, much of which is just a repeat of what we already knew in the past. Wall Street is very short-term driven. There's no discussion of anything very long-term in that call. It's all about the short term. And the market is scared and the analysts are scared. And of course, the analysts give predictions mostly 12 months out, and that messes them up, right? This backup in inventory channel. I titled this video, I put in the title, $30 coming, exclamation mark, because of course, when you go on Twitter, all you see is negativity, negativity, negativity. And there's like this random Twitter account that I saw, oh, if it gets to $30, maybe I'll take a look. Maybe if it gets to $30, you just throw out a random number out there. Why not take a look when it gets to 10? Why not 5? Like, how do you come up to 30? It's ridiculous. And then some other people with no understanding on how to read a balance sheet whatsoever, oh, they're going bankrupt. Don't buy them, they're going bankrupt. This is complete nonsense, and it's tough. That's why one day I will stop covering the day-to-day on this channel and stop covering the day-to-day and just talk about the long term. Like, sometimes I just want to make a video that's at least 5 years out. And if it's less than 5 years out, I don't want to cover it. But anyways, today the stock is down, minus 16%, right, in after hours. Who knows what it will open at? It will largely depend on the market, right? This is a stock that has a little bit of a correlation with the Nasdaq. Let's remember that a lot of that down performance, not that of today, but that over the past few days on Enphase, can be explained with the fact that the Nasdaq has been performing the worst since February. So these growth stocks are correlated with the Nasdaq. It's really a nasty moment in the market right now because the market is so short term and interest rates are high, and that's it. That's all I have to say about this. But the long term, in my view, is bright. The long term is bright for a company like Enphase. Like, let's not forget, this was a company in the top 10 of the S&P 500. I keep repeating myself. But this company was trailing Tesla for the longest time, right? Many of you in the comment section have told me that you're retired because you bought Enphase before everybody else. So let's not forget the type of asset we're talking about. We're talking about a top asset here. We're talking about a revolution. This is a revolutionary asset. This is a company that has the potential to quite simply disrupt utilities and the utility sector. And if you listen to the full call and if you listen to what's happening in the Netherlands and what Battery was talking about with the Netherlands, I was very impressed. In a country like the Netherlands, you get 30% solar. This is reminiscent of what's happening in EVs and the countries of Northern Europe adopting EVs before everyone else. It's a foresign, it's a foretell of what the future is going to be, right? I used to say Australia is the Norway of solar panels. Well, it turns out the Netherlands may very well be the Norway of solar panels, right? And it doesn't matter if you're in the north. It doesn't matter if you're in a more rainy place. It doesn't matter. This technology is a revolution. Okay, you can get free electricity from your roof. Free electricity, free energy that you can resell, energy that you can use to power your car. You power your transportation with energy from your roof that is free. This is a revolution like we rarely see. Anyways, this is a short-term video. Let me talk about the short term. Let's talk about the short term. So, for those interested about the short term, yes, the guidance is abnormally low. It was a disappointment. It's bad. I'm not going to hide it, but Battery said it like it is. It said it's bad, right? Battery said the installers are actually even more hurt, and they're looking for discounts, which Enphase is not giving them. That's when Battery, if you listen to the call, Battery got a little angry at an analyst at one point. That's because the analyst was asking about discount, and no, Battery is focused on running a profitable company instead of giving discounts. Probably because there's not that much elasticity in the demand for the product. So that's just the way it is. Much of the 300 to 350 million guide for this quarter, for Q4, is due to the backlog in inventory. The channel inventory is very high. Battery said it's about half high in Europe and half high in the US. So the inventory is high in the Europe and the US about equally. So that's a global downturn that is clearly due to interest rate. This is not a strategic mistake of Enphase, right? This is literally the interest rate. This is literally one man who single-handedly decided to raise rates that's hurting companies that sell big stuff. And selling big stuff could be cars, could be houses, or it could be solar panels. That's it. But solar panels and electric cars, they create a lot of savings. I'll get into this later. They create a lot of savings, tremendous savings for people, which eventually will push people to buy them. People, in my view, they are delaying their purchases. They are not canceling them outright. This is a delay. When interest rates drop, people will come back to solar. And in fact, if you look at the history of Enphase, that has already happened to Enphase back in 2019, late 2018, early 2019. You may remember rate hikes. The rumors of rate hikes really started hurting Enphase back then. The Trump rate hikes and these rate hikes, actually Trump then backed away, stopped raising rates, and the stock shot back up, and the revenue shot back up. And I believe that's what's going to happen here. There's a convergence, there's a coherence in my investments, right? I believe rates are not going to stay this high. Like, if you believe rates are going to stay this high, by all means, stay away from Enphase. If you actually stay away from stocks, let me tell you altogether, stay away from stocks. If you believe rates are staying at 5% and keep staying or even increase from 5%, just stay away from stocks, because the market is going to be short-term for a long time with those rates. They are going down. There is no choice in my view. That's just my view. No investment advice, right? So anyways, what's the current normalized level? What's the current normal level? In the depressed conditions of today. So when I mean normalized, it's within the channel inventory. So Battery said that right now, including the current demand, assuming the demand picture is unchanged right now, i.e. really bad, the normal level for their sales each quarter would be between 450 and 500 million. I took the middle of that. It's 475 million. I'm saying it's 475 million once they deal with that channel inventory backlog. And Battery in the call spent like a good 5 minutes explaining how it works and why there is an inventory. They were overconfident. They didn't think this was going to happen. They made a mistake. They're paying a dear price. I can't imagine how much someone like Battery is down on his stock. I can't imagine. So they're paying a dear price for it. Let's remember. They're paying the price. The market is punishing them. It's okay. They made a mistake. That's it. But let's be clear. Let me be clear. Current enterprise value right now, $80 a share. That's a $9.95 billion enterprise value. Right, at a 9.95 billion enterprise value, I mean, it's ridiculously low. And assuming the depressed sales right now, these depressed sales at 475 million times 4, that's 1.9 billion. You're at a price to sales of a 5.2 for a product whose gross margin is about to exceed 50% thanks to the IRA. And for a product who, when this gross margin keeps increasing, is going to have very healthy profit margins. And let me just say, unlike Tesla, Enphase is not dropping prices, right? Enphase is hoping mostly that the installers drop the prices and not Enphase. So Enphase is not dropping the prices. This will keep going up thanks to the IRA money. So that's point number one. It's bad, yes, but it's also temporary. We already knew this. Going into this. And the big part of his gamble is how temporary is temporary, right? That's the big question. But if you keep this stock till 2030, like I am, the vision of 2030 is the same and has not changed, and the technology has not changed. And we know, he reminded us again, they're working on the IQ9s in the call. He reminded us of that again. All right. Another thing that's new in the call, which is something I intimated in my prior video, that Enphase would just produce the microinverters in the US and export them around the world. Well, one analyst specifically asked that question, which I thought was a great question, because I've been saying that in my videos, but we will just use US manufacturing sites and make, like, even if the demand stays this low or even drops, you bet they'll make those microinverters in the US and just ship them. That's what my view. The whole world, in my view, the whole world will have made in USA microinverters if the demand picture stays as it is. Battery, when asked this question, it says, we have not done that yet, but we will consider it. And by we have not, he said, we have not had to do that yet, but we will consider it. Of course you will consider it. You get $28, to quote Mandy, the CFO. You get $28 per microinverter, direct pay IRA money. So of course they will consider it. My guess is they will increase manufacturing in the US because of that stupid IRA money that they're getting. By stupid, I mean stupidly good. It's really high. It's a lot of money. This is something that Solar Edge can't do, because Solar Edge gets about half, a little more than half, but barely more than half what microinverters get. So central inverters, string inverters don't get as much money as the IRA. The IRA bill seems to have been written for microinverters, of which Enphase is the leader, which tells me that the government has actively chosen one leader. And you want to be on the side of the government in any business, right? And the government seems to have chosen Enphase as their leader. So in my view, yes, they will move most of their manufacturing to the USA. And it may be hard for some partners that are not in the US. I'm thinking about the plant they just opened in Romania, for example. Well, these plants may be a little slow for a little while, because if the demand stays low, it seems like much of the demand is going to be made in the US, and that's really going to help these margins. You know, I know the market likes to focus on whatever is wrong, but the gross margins were the highlight of this call, and they did a handsome beat, a very nice beat on these margins. Let me move on. More about the IRA money. This is not an IRA money video, but I just want to talk a little bit about this. So USA-based battery manufacturing may start in Q2. Battery gave very little details about this, but he said they're looking at it for Q2. Now, why is that interesting? Why would they be interested in manufacturing their battery systems in the US? Well, you guessed it. Again, IRA money. So actually, when you compute these numbers, and I'm preparing a video computing these numbers for Tesla, because these numbers for Tesla get truly stupid and truly silly for Tesla. Like, I anticipate Tesla making so much money from making batteries in the US because of these manufacturing credits. But it's very good for Enphase too. Well, it's good. It's not very good. It's good for Enphase. So it's $35 per kilowatt hour assuming US-made battery cells, and it's $10 per kilowatt hour assuming US assembled battery modules. And I am not an engineer, so and we don't know yet how Enphase is going to do this. It seems like they are buying Chinese battery cells right now. So right now they would only be eligible for $10 per kilowatt hour, but I don't think that would be enough of an incentive. So my guess is that if they want to manufacture batteries in the USA, they likely have a plan to incorporate US-made battery cells. And so the whole question with these subsidies is like, is it a US-made battery cells with imported parts? Does that make sense? Because the IRA bill also has a subsidies for mined part in the US, and I'm assuming that they will not mine the rare earth that goes into batteries. I'm assuming the mining subsidy they're not going to get. Tesla may get the mining subsidy, but not Enphase. But if it's a battery cell that's made in the USA with foreign parts, does it qualify for $35? And so let's assuming they get the money for their in-home battery packs that they're going to sell, likely with every install. Remember, to make good return on these projects in markets where NEM3 is a thing, right? In market where net energy metering is not a thing anymore, right? Like California moving to NEM3. In those markets, you have an attach rate for batteries that is very high. The future is likely one battery pack at least sold per solar panels, and sometimes they sell many more, right? Oftentimes they sell 3 of them. In fact, they have a design package that makes selling 3 of them actually look very good on your wall with like a different case. Anyways, doesn't matter. So right now, if you do this calculation, assuming they sell 100 megawatt hours, which is what they've guided, So right now, what do you get? You get about $18 million in manufacturing IRA subsidies if they were to move manufacturing to the US. That's nothing. That's not a lot for Enphase. That's why they are not a hurry. That's not a lot. But why is it not a lot for Enphase, right? It's not a lot because batteries right now are not a meaningful part of their business. In fact, if batteries were a meaningful part of their business, their revenues would be up. Because if you look at the numbers, they sold more batteries. Their battery sales are up. But they are doing this from such a low base, right? So right now they're only selling, per my calculation again, they're only selling about 8,000 batteries per quarter right now, which is not a lot at all. But this is a nascent business for Enphase. And, if we move to a future where every single solar array has batteries attached to it, I think this could be a major tailwind for growth for Enphase in a major market. And of course, it's a market in which they compete with Tesla. So let's be careful about that too. They compete with Tesla in this market. So we have to be a little careful. Okay, let's talk about the quote-unquote good news for solar and why I think solar is going to get adopted. Let's not forget interest rates are up for everybody, and they're up for utility companies too. So utility companies are in this phase of raising their prices, and Battery said that multiple times in the call. Solar plus battery now, in many markets, is closer to 6 years than 9 years. In fact, he said 9 years none of the time. He kept saying 6 to 7 years in many of their major markets, including California. This is a big deal. That means that NEM-free, which net energy metering free, NEM-free, let's face it, is no net energy metering, or like an economically disadvantageous net energy metering. It's net energy metering where it's really not interesting to sell your energy back to the grid. It's more interesting to just keep it for your own use, right? So that's why you need a battery. But even in those setups, you're getting at 6 years. So are we gonna get back to the heyday of NEM-free when we had 4 years to 5 years payback on some systems? Are we going to get back to these levels? I think so. And Battery thinks so. And he mentioned a major California utility, and I think I know which one it is, right? There's essentially there's like one main one, apparently requested the state a 20% increase, and Battery seem to think they're going to get at least a 10% increase in their electric rates. Battery seems to think they'll get at least a 10% increase. And so, of course, if you have a 10% increase in the cost, right, that 10% increase in the cost of electricity also increases your return of investment by 10% because you increase your savings, or it reduces your time. Your ROI is reduced in time, right? Your break-even time is reduced. And actually, Battery used my country, yay, as an example of a country where electricity prices are increasing very quickly. This is very funny to a French person to hear that, because like my country is used a lot for expensive prices. Like it's an expensive place. It's kind of crazy sometimes. And this is an example of how things are going to get more expensive. I don't think the French are going to be happy about that. I'm good. I live in Texas. I get 13 cents a kilowatt hour, but I feel, and I've talked to my family about this. Actually, they feel bad. If you look, they've already announced, right? The Ministry of Transition Energetic already announced until 2025. So what do we get? We got 10% in August. They're going to get 17%, 70%, and 17%. Ouch. Already planned these electric rates. So he noted he took France as an example, and he said, France is going in down in sales, but because of the planned increases, they have no doubt that electricity rates will pick up. And so if you look, we have one lined up for February 2023 at plus 17%. I mean, electric rates increase 17% twice in 2024. So how much is that? Is that almost 40%? Is that almost a 40% increase in electric rates in 2024? Yeah, it's almost 40. This is insane. Like, you're looking at a country where electric prices are almost doubling in a matter of 2 years. And he said this is similar across Europe. So this is going to come back. He expects a swift recovery in Europe. And me too, I expect a swift recovery in Europe. If those prices keep going up this fast, All right, inflation. I mean, we think we have bad inflation in the U.S., but it seems to me like inflation is way worse over there. Way worse. I've been seeing other things like electric prices in the UK, bakeries closing down in the UK because all of a sudden the bill did a 10x. These are long-term trend. These are secular structural trends that those utility rates keep going up. So anyways, I think this is a tailwind. This is a major tailwind for Enphase, and it really sucks if you have to pay these prices that increase like that. And lastly, I'll finish with this, but I already talked about this a little bit. When you listen to this call, you get a sense that battery is defensive. He's getting attacked by analysts that are 12 months out, and he's defensive. But the example he gives are very reassuring. And to me, the highlight of this call, there's been a few highlights, but one of the better highlights to me of this call as far as the long-term thinking is what he said about the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, and he had come back from a trip to the Netherlands, and he visited installers and visited that market. Apparently 2 weeks ago he was in Netherlands. In the Netherlands, at 2.2 million homes out of 7 million homes have solar in the Netherlands. That's 31%. 31% of the houses in the Netherlands have solar. So, I mean, to me, this future of the US getting from 5% to 30% is very, very clear. But this is not going to stop at 30%. This is just logical. This is just logical. And in fact, getting shingles, like getting your roof re-shingled entirely, in some markets, it's pretty close to the price of solar, if you really think about it, if you have a big roof. So I think it's just so logical to put solar on roofs, in my view. It is so logical. You get free energy and free transportation and free compute. If you want to resell compute, if you're into that, so many different technologies can be added on because you have more energy on your roof. And we have so much space on our roofs, right? And Enphase is the one system that can benefit from expansions. This is something we don't think about too. But you have a household, and an household gets a second electric car. They get rid of their second gas car, and they get a second electric car. What do? Right, they call Enphase and they say, hey, we need 6 more solar panels, and it's very easy to add 6 solar panels to a system if you have Enphase, right? Because it's one panel, one microinverter. There's so much going for this business. I am so glad we're going to be done with this short-term earnings season, and I'll go back to the long-term videos, talking to my viewers about Enphase for the long run, right? Because this is a long-term play, right? He mentioned Australia more than doubled year over year, despite the slowdown. It's 100% year over year. Brazil is coming. They're launching Brazil. The IQP launching Brazil. Brazil is a huge market, 250 million people. It's a major market for them. Anyways, what am I doing? Well, I've been buying a little bit of Enphase before the drop, but you may know that I've been kind of slow in my buys. I've actually bought much more Tesla than I have bought Enphase recently, mostly because I was expecting this, because the market is so short term. So what am I doing right now? Well, I'm gonna keep DCAing. I'm gonna keep buying, right? And I expect still the stock to have a few analyst downgrades, very short-term things. And let's not forget that we have on November 1, we have the Solar Edge call. So who knows whether there's going to be Enphase trading in tandem with Solar Edge if Solar Edge does something even worse. So I'm DCAing slowly. I don't know when we're going to see a bottom, but there will be a bottom at some point. But right now, and I'll make a specific videos about this, I'm looking at leaps because I think in January of 2026, this will be over. And, these contracts right now, like if you look at, say, The $80 contract right now. I mean, the 95 is at 38. It wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow I'm recording this video late at night, so it will be the morning when you see it. So this morning, I wouldn't be surprised if those leaps, right? This right to buy 100 shares in 2026, which is a great right to have, right? As a long-term investor, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these prices at 3,000. $30 for each call. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm seriously looking at this. And we will see. But this is this is a long-term hold. And I will conclude with this, because I saw in my prior video some comments like, oh, it keeps going down. Oh, insert whatever number you're thinking, typically random numbers, and people say, oh, it's going to go to this level. It's going to go to this level. And what I will say, and I will say it again, is I'm not trying to hit the bottom in order to feel good about myself because I've caught the bottom. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have the right position size such that when I take a walk in my neighborhood 10 years from now and I see 70% of the roofs in my neighborhood in Texas, very hot, lots of sun here, and I see 70% of these roofs covered in solar, and when I look around, I know that half of these roofs are Enphase, I feel good about my investment, because this is not the first slump in sales for Enphase. They've had that in 2019 and it bounced right back. This is a technological trend, right? This is not an economic question. This is, in the short term, this is an economic question. In the long term, this is a technological story and not an economic story. In the short term, this is an interest rate story. In the long term, this is a secular story for a technology that has already changed many lives and is going to change our lives. Free power. I can't emphasize this enough. Power is at the root of the economy. Let's not forget, Enphase is also the leader in residential. The size of the residential market for solar is so much bigger than the size of the commercial markets. It's much bigger market, residential. Right? Consumer markets in general are much bigger. But this is much bigger. Solar panels are very inexpensive right now. And Battery said that in the call too. He said a lot of our installers are having no issues sourcing great solar panels at great prices right now. Right? So this is the premium part of the product, the microinverter. But solar panels are getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. They're riding these cost curves down. The cost curves are getting lower and lower. Yes, as I've shown in multiple videos before, the price of a solar panel is getting close to the price of a sheet of plywood. It's getting close to that price. The same price as a sheet of plywood that you buy at the Home Depot, you can get a solar panel. This is a revolution, right? This is like flat screen TVs a little bit as far as solar goes. Anyways, I have so much to say. You can probably tell I much prefer tell you about the long term than the short run. Yes, the stock may be in the 80s, in the 70s. Doesn't matter in the short term. Well, it doesn't feel good to see red in the account. It doesn't feel good at all. But I mean, it's become a second nature for me, and this is something that long precedes this current bear market. Although, like I said, I said in prior videos, this bear market is getting on the longer end, right? It's getting longer than prior bear markets. But as someone who's been on and off Bitcoin since 2014, I can tell you these 80% drawdowns are no stranger to me whatsoever. I'm very familiar with 80% drawdowns, and even though it sucks on the day, it hurts on the day. You calculate how much money you've lost, and it doesn't feel good. I saw a few people in the comments. There's people who lost millions today on paper because Wall Street is so short term. But oftentimes these are millions they made from this stock because this stock did well over 100x, right? Well over 100x. That's what this stock did. So anyways, I am done with this video. This is not investment advice, of course. This is just entertainment. I hope you were entertained. as much as short-term thinking can entertain you. I hope you were entertained. No investment advice. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.